Hey everybody, Nick from Airsoft here, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the EMG slash CYMA Daniel Defense licensed Mark 18 AEG. I picked this up recently while I was over at a indoor airsoft field that was local to me, and I saw it on the wall and couldn't resist picking it up. So with that out of the way, let's get this thing open. We are greeted with foam, and under the foam, we get the gun itself and all the goodies inside. Poison nerds, don't eat those. A small bag of an unknown weight of BB. I'm not gonna use these because I have no idea what weight they are. And usually the BBs that come with guns aren't going to be that great. We have a Allen key. I imagine this is for disassembly. There it is. We have a certificate of authenticity from EMG. Comes with and has like little instructions for how to, like basic operation, how to use the gun, but that's what I'm here for. Yeah. We have our magazine. I do like how it's clear up top so you can see the spring compress. I think that's kind of neat when you're loading it. And then we get to the gun itself. However, I personally think this is a little bit bland. However, I have the perfect solution for that. And with a little bit of movie magic, as it's called, I'm going to make this thing look 10 times nicer. Oh yeah, it looks 10 times nicer, wouldn't you agree? You can move this box out of the way, and we can talk a little bit more about the gun itself. Before I get started, I would just like to point out that I have used this already at, like I said, I bought this at an indoor field that's pretty local to me, so I had used it the day I got it. So if you happen to see any kind of like scuff marks, that's why. It's because I've already used it. So to start us off, I'm going to go over the magazine real quick. This is a CYMA M4 mid-cap magazine. I believe it holds 150 rounds, and yeah, when I used it, it feeds really nice. I like it a lot. I would not be opposed to running multiple of these, but I already have M4 mags that I personally like, so it doesn't really matter. We have the Daniel Defense trades on here. Got a caliber marking, name. Nothing else on the other side. It's a bit blend in the other side. The rail has some trades on it, like right there, as well as underneath. It says right there, for airsoft only. The rail has all of these markings for which Picatinny rail segment you're using. The gun is full metal aside from the motor grip, pistol grip, the stock, the buffer tube as well. It might be metal. Not sure. I can't exactly. Pretty sure that's metal. Stock, the grip, everything else on here is going to be metal, and it definitely feels like it. It's pretty hefty, especially this rail. The rail's pretty heavy. Not terribly heavy, but heavy enough to notice after you ran around using a all polymer PDW as your primary CQB gun. It's definitely noticeable, but it's not terrible. Since this is manufactured by CYMA, it has their CYMA Platinum QBS gearbox inside, so it has the CYMA Platinum ETU. It has all the different pieces and parts that go into a CYMA Platinum, except for the hop unit, but I will get to that in a little bit. basic M4 controls, I guess. You have your select fire switch right here, and it clicks audibly, stays in place. It works. Other side, we have a working bolt and bolt catch. Actually, right here is a quality control sticker saying that, hey, it passed quality control. Well, that's cool. So the hop unit is right here, and it is a pain in the ass to adjust. It audibly clicks. If you can hear that. That's me turning it. It clicks and it stays in place. However, after using it and trying to dial it, it does absolutely nothing. This is a terrible, terrible hop unit. I would recommend, if you do end up getting this, I would recommend changing this because this thing will not hop much of anything at all. I used 2 5s when I played with this, and it wouldn't hop them at all. I would be surprised if it didn't hop like 0.2s. But I mean, if you're going to be using lighter ammo and you're playing indoors, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're playing outdoors, I would highly recommend changing this. The battery connections are in the stock right here. In order to get to them, there are these two tabs right here. You push them in and the pad comes off. And then right here, there's that little thing there. You stick your finger in there, you push in a little bit, like down, because there's these 2 tabs right here that lock it into place in the stock. And it's, after a while you get used to it, but it's a bit of a pain to get out. And it is wired to Deans, so that's neat. As for the batteries, I would recommend using this with a 7.4, because since this is a CYMA Platinum on the inside, CYMA Platinum ETUs and MOSFETs have a tendency to burn out, especially if you're using higher voltage batteries. They aren't great MOSFETs. So for longevity's sake, I would use a 7.4, and which it runs perfectly fine on. I have no issues using 7.4s. You can run it with an 11.1. Just if the MOSFET breaks or burns out because of it, don't say I didn't warn you. It's, again, not a great MOSFET. I would recommend swapping that out as well to something a bit more, something a bit better. But again, longevity's sake, if you plan on keeping this like internally stocked for as long as possible, I would run a 7.4 on it. And as you can see here, I did remove the orange tip, which wasn't that hard. It was held in by a pin and it was also glued together. So in order to get the orange tip off, you just have to remove the pin, and then I would dip the outer barrel only, and into a pot of like boiling water for a couple minutes, which should melt the glue, and you'll be able to twist the orange tip off. If you are going to do that, I would recommend taking out the inner barrel and hop up just in case you don't want to damage any of that, because if you do, then you're never going to get a consistent shot ever again. So I would absolutely recommend removing the inner barrel, hop up, all that before trying to attempt that. And just as a quick note, this front body pin is a pain to get out. It is in there extremely tight. I had to essentially pry it off because I couldn't punch it out. So I had to, it takes a lot of effort to get out, and yeah, it wasn't fun. So It's a bit tricky to get out at first, but once you get it out, it is a captive pin, so it is held in by a smaller pin right in here that kind of holds this in place, so you don't take it all the way out and lose it, which is great. You don't want to be losing your front body pin, but I think because it's so tight tolerances that it's a pain to get out to remove the upper from the lower. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right, I think that's enough talk about the gun for right now. Let's grab the chronograph and let's shoot this thing. All right, I have the Mark 18 right here, loaded. We're gonna take a couple shots into the chronograph, see what we get. 284.8 at 0.94 joule. 293 at 1, 301 at 105, 296.5 at 1.02, 301.3, so it's shooting high 200s and low 300s on 2.5s at around 1 joule of energy. That's pretty good for Indoor Cqb. However, there are two versions that come with this. There is a 350 FPS version and a 400 FPS version. And to my knowledge, it's going to be around 50 FPS lower than what you would expect it to be, which is definitely showing here. I'm pretty sure this is the 350 version because it's shooting at around 290, 300. Let's take a couple shots at the tree over there. Oh no, my battery's dead. All right, new battery. We're gonna take some shots at the tree. I had it running on a 7.4 earlier. I have it on 11.1 now, but again, run a 7.4 for longevity's sake. It's hitting the tree. However, I don't know if you guys can see it, but again, like I said, this hop up is not great. Let's try adjusting it a little bit. Is that it all the way up? Yeah, it's at all the way up, and it is not hopping 2.5s. Like, it's dropping straight into the ground at like maybe 30, 40 feet. Of course, I'm still hitting the tree because that is a hill and it's arcing over the hill and hitting the tree, but still. Let's do some auto. On an 11.1, that is pretty fast, not gonna lie. All right, final thoughts on the EMG / CYMA Mark 8 Daniel Defense Mark 18. I actually really like this thing, despite its many faults, which I'll quickly go over again. Hop up, not great. If you are going to be getting this thing, I would highly recommend swapping it out, and maybe while you're at it, change the bucking as well. Power is a bit low. Again, this is, I believe, the 350 FPS version. However, it's pretty much par for the course for these things to be around 50 FPS lower than they should be. So if you would want to bring the power up, I would suggest getting a upgraded spring as well. Something else that I noticed a bit externally, I don't know if you can see it, but the actually might be better to see if put the Mach suppressor on. If I can get it back on. There we go. The Mach suppressor is angled to the my left, your right, ever so slightly. The outer barrel is not completely straight, which I would imagine would have some sort of effect on accuracy. This is how the gun came, and the outer barrel is at a weird angle. That is not okay. For a gun that costs around $300, I should not expect this. This is not great. Not great. It still works, and granted, it works. It shoots fine, aside from the hop up and power. But other than that, it shoots fine. It's just a bit of an external hiccup there, if I do say so myself. I'm gonna have to fix that when I get around to it. Some things I do like about it. I like that it's all metal. It feels pretty nice in the hands. It's pretty comfortable, pretty solid. The foregrip and the red dot do help with that kind of thing, but it's a very comfortable gun to shoot. It shoots pretty well. Like I don't know if you were hearing, if you could, oh, of course you can hear it. If you heard how the gun sounded every time I shot it, it sounded really nice. It sounded a lot better shimmed than a lot of other stock AEGs I've seen, and I've seen a lot, and I've shot a lot. And this one, out of all of the stock guns, stock AEGs that I've gotten, this one sounds the best, hands down. So I have to commend them for that. And like I said before, this is a CYMA Platinum on the inside, so it also has the CYMA Platinum ETU, which isn't perfect. It's pretty basic for what it is, and there have been reports of them again burning out and breaking because of one reason or another, mainly because people are using higher voltage batteries and spamming semi. So like I've been saying, for longevity's sake, I would use a 7.4 in this. But yeah, again, for its many faults, I really do like this thing. I like it a lot. Just understand what you're getting into with one of these. It's not going to be perfect out of the box, but there are things you can do to, make it perfect, like changing the hop up, getting, power up if you need to. I don't really need to, but I might anyway. In fact, I actually have a hop up and bucking on the way for this set to replace the stock one because it is that bad. But yeah, this thing is really cool, and I will leave a link in the description to where you can purchase one of these for yourself if you want to pick one up. So yeah, I'm gonna go shoot this some more, but until then, until the next video, I will see you guys later. Peace.